It's the eve of training camp. And while this is usually the kind of moment that sparks a jolt of energy through a fan base, especially one as passionate as Steelers Nation, the atmosphere feels quieter than expected, not silent, not indifferent, but maybe just tempered by recent history. Still, whether you're ready or not, the engine of football season is about to roar to life, and things are going to move quickly. At St. Vincent College, where the Steelers host their annual camp, access begins bright and early. Reporters will be allowed in around 9 o'clock in the morning, and soon after, the players will start to trickle in. You'll see cars pulling up, bags being carried, familiar faces emerging, maybe with new haircuts, new muscles, or just a new energy. By mid-morning, the action kicks off with a steady wave of interviews. Over the course of 3 or so hours, from 10 to 1, guys will step up to the mic and face questions ranging from their off-season routines to their outlook on what could be a defining season. But this time, it's not just about the same core of players talking again. There are newcomers, some huge names, and that changes the entire tone of what this camp could be. The afternoon will bring the infamous conditioning test, a rite of passage that every player must complete, and that always brings out a few surprises, not just in terms of who passes or fails, but who shows up in shape, who looks locked in, who's leading from the front. Then Mike Tomlin is expected to speak, his first formal press conference of camp. That's always a moment worth watching, not just for what he says, but for how he says it. The tone he sets in that first media session often echoes throughout the entire camp, and sometimes the season. Now, you might be wondering, why all this focus on the process when the real action hasn't even started? Because this year feels different, not in a hyped-up, over-the-top way, but in a way that demands attention. There's real electricity surrounding this roster, and that's not a word to throw around lightly. In fact, it feels like if this exact team, this exact group of players, had been assembled by nearly any of the other 31 franchises in the NFL, the buzz would be off the charts. Just the names alone would send fans into a frenzy. Forget the age debates, the injury risks, the positional battles. You'd hear comparisons to Super Bowl contenders. You'd see primetime projections. The hype would be palpable. Think about it, if the Steelers had made just one major move this offseason, like acquiring DK Metcalf, that alone would have ignited a media firestorm in most cities. That's a WR1 with explosive potential, but in Pittsburgh, that move almost got buried in the shuffle, because then came Aaron Rodgers, then Jalen Ramsey, then Jonnu Smith, then came a draft class that, on paper, looks like it could yield multiple starters. And it's not just about talent, it's about attitude. It's about a potential shift in the locker room culture, the kind of shift that says, we're not here to talk anymore, we're here to win. And yet, there's a strange hesitation among parts of this fan base. You can feel it. It's not outright pessimism, it's not disbelief. It's more like guarded hope, a reluctance to buy in fully until there's proof, until the wins start stacking up, until the postseason drought ends. That's fair, honestly, because if you've been riding with this team for the past few years, you've seen plenty of promise fizzle out. You've seen hot starts go cold. You've seen defense-led teams unable to punch back in January. You've seen playoff appearances feel more like obligatory cameos than real threats to go deep. And that's where the real question comes in. Are you, as a Steelers fan, excited right now? Truly excited? Or are you holding back because of everything that's happened in recent seasons? If this exact roster showed up wearing another team's colors, say, the Jets, the Bears, even the Commanders, would their fans be losing their minds? Probably. So why not here? Why does it feel like there's a ceiling on the optimism, a leash on the excitement? It might come down to expectations, or maybe disappointment, or both. Because while the Steelers haven't had a losing season under Mike Tomlin, they also haven't made meaningful noise in the playoffs in what feels like an eternity. And when you look at the names that have passed through Pittsburgh in that time, Watt, Fitzpatrick, Hayward, Johnson, and think about how little postseason success has come with them, it's understandable that some fans would be cautious about jumping headfirst into this new wave of hope. But here's the twist. This roster isn't the same. These additions, Rodgers, Ramsey, Metcalf, they don't carry the scars of those playoff defeats. They weren't around when the Browns stunned the Steelers in their own stadium. They weren't on the field when the offense sputtered or the defense got lit up in the first half. And that matters, because one of the most underrated elements in sports is having fresh blood walk into a room and say, figuratively but meaningfully, that wasn't us. It's a clean slate. It's a reset in energy. And when you combine that with the return of core veterans, guys who are hungry to redeem those past failures, you get something powerful. You get urgency, you get edge, you get the possibility of transformation. That's what Latrobe could reveal. Not just who's in shape or who's learning the playbook, but who's stepping into leadership roles. Who's setting the tone on the field and in the huddle. Who's turning promise into presence. And yes, Tomlin will talk about the journey. He always does, but this journey feels like it might take a different path. Because the storylines aren't the same, the stakes aren't the same. There's a different level of accountability in the building now, and it's going to show. In Camp Now, turning to one of the most buzzed about names heading into this training camp. Roman Wilson. Every fan base has that rookie they latch onto. That guy who hasn't played a down but feels like he could be a hidden gem. For the Steelers right now, that's Wilson, but where exactly does he fit in? That's the million-dollar question. Everyone knows Metcalf is the WR1. That's not even up for debate. Calvin Austin is locked in as the WR3, the slot guy. The speedster designed to take the top off defenses and punish mismatches. That much has been made clear internally. It's not speculation. So where does that leave Roman? In reality, he's chasing their spot, whether it's officially open or temporarily vacant. And here's the challenge. If the team brings in another receiver early in camp, or even during preseason, Roman is going to have to battle head-to-head for that role. And if no one else is brought in, then the pressure doubles, because that means the coaches are looking at him to step up and seize it. The odds aren't stacked against him, but they aren't exactly tilted in his favor either. He played predominantly in the slot in college, and although he has versatility, that's where most teams see him contributing early. Still, camp is the great equalizer. Everyone gets reps, everyone gets balls thrown their way. The field doesn't care about draft position or media hype. What matters is impact. What matters is whether you're getting open, finishing plays, blocking when needed, and earning trust from quarterbacks. All for quarterbacks, by the way. Because this is not a 1 QB room, building chemistry across the board is essential. Especially for a young guy like Roman who's trying to carve out a role. So yes, he'll get a chance. He'll get plenty of looks. But whether he climbs the depth chart depends entirely on how he performs when the lights start getting a little brighter. And don't buy the narrative that the Steelers have already written the script for who plays and who doesn't. This is a team and a sport where performance dictates everything. No one's being handed anything. Roman Wilson is going to have to earn it every single day in camp. And honestly, that's what makes it so compelling. Because if he does break through, if he does show he belongs, it's not going to be because someone paved the way for him. It'll be because he took it. So, with all of this about to unfold, the question isn't just whether the Steelers will be good. The question is how good they can be. And whether fans are ready to embrace that possibility. Because once the pads come on, once the plays start popping off in camp, once the buzz starts circulating from one big highlight at Chuck Noll Field to the next preseason matchup, the conversation is going to shift fast. That cautious energy might give way to full-blown excitement, and when that happens, you won't even remember how skeptical things felt back here on the eve of camp, when everything was still a mystery. As the days of training camp unfold, the true test for this Steelers roster begins. It's not about the headlines or the big names anymore. It's about execution and chemistry on the field. Fans will start to see how the pieces fit together under the bright lights and intense scrutiny that only camp and preseason games bring. There will be moments that spark hope, and there will inevitably be moments that cause frustration. The balance between those emotions is what makes following a team like this so compelling. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a stunning twist that's sending shockwaves through the NFL, whispers are growing louder about a potential blockbuster move involving wide receiver Keenan Allen. The buzz, Allen, who has recently parted ways with the Chicago Bears, might be signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a scenario that could reshape the dynamics of the AFC North and ignite fresh excitement among Steelers fans. Sources close to the situation hint that negotiations between Allen and the Steelers are underway. Though nothing has been officially confirmed, this rumor alone has sparked intense speculation across sports media and fan circles alike. Given Allen's proven track record as one of the league's most reliable and skilled receivers, his departure from Chicago, a team struggling to find offensive consistency, only adds fuel to the fire. suggesting he could be looking for a fresh start in a city known for its passionate football culture. If this move materializes, it could significantly boost the Steelers' aerial attack. Known for his precise route running, strong hands, and ability to create separation, Allen would bring a new level of versatility to Pittsburgh's offense. The Steelers have historically valued receivers who can make an immediate impact, and Allen fits that mold perfectly. His addition could provide quarterback Kenny Pickett with a dependable target, potentially elevating the team's passing game and making them more competitive in a tough division. Of course, such a transfer wouldn't come without its challenges. Adjusting to a new playbook and team environment always takes time, and the Steelers would have to ensure that Allen integrates smoothly with their offensive scheme. Moreover, the financial and contract details remain under wraps, leaving many questions unanswered about how this deal could affect the team's salary cap and roster composition. Still, the very possibility of Keenan Allen joining the Steelers has fans and analysts buzzing with excitement. Could this be the missing piece Pittsburgh needs to turn their season around? Only time will tell, but for now, the rumor mill is spinning fast, and everyone is watching closely to see if this historic move becomes a reality. Stay tuned as this story develops. This could be one of the most electrifying NFL rumors of the year. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.